Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Cavan-Smith. Tonight, the Nigerian army ignored repeated warnings of an attack on Dapchi town. Investigators from Amnesty International say that security forces were told of the presence of Boko Haram militants in the area just hours before they took 110 schoolgirls last month. Also, as central Mali increasingly becomes a target for jihadist attacks, frustrated locals take the law into their own hands and form their own militia. And Sudan, the world's last male northern white rhino, has died. He passed away of old age at an elderly 45 years old. But first, Nigeria's security forces had been warned in advance about militants who abducted 110 schoolgirls last month. Rights investigators from Amnesty International say that the military and police received at least 5 calls just hours before the attack to warn them that Boko Haram fighters were on their way to the town of Dapchi. The military had withdrawn from the area in January, reportedly because they believed that the area was safe. It's now been a month since the mass abduction, and parents still have no information on where their daughters might be. Issa Sanusi from Amnesty International tells us more about why the group believes that security forces dropped the ball in Dapchi.
The research we conducted shows that the Nigerian security forces working in that area were given advance notice of more than 4 hours, and they didn't do anything actually. And even after the abduction, there was ample opportunity for the Nigerian security forces to rescue the girls, but apparently nothing was done, and actually that was a missed opportunity. And that was why we issued that first statement asking the government to investigate and find out why it happened and why the security agencies failed to carry out their responsibility of providing security and protection of lives.
So where did you get your information from?
Well, we conducted a research, and in the course of research, we spoke with multiple sources in the locality and around it. And we tried to verify through so many sources, dozens of sources, to ensure that what we got was right. And we also shared our finding with the military and told them that, look, this is what we have found out, and we want you to investigate. So it's a thorough research, actually, that took days to conduct.
So you've actually asked the government to make the results of your investigation public. In what way do you think that will help avoid future security lapses?
Well, the issue in Nigeria is that whenever there is any problem or failure, the government will say, okay, we are going to investigate. Unfortunately, most of these investigations are never carried out according to international standards of independence and impartiality. And in most cases, the result or outcome of those investigations are never made public. And these actually are the kind of things that generate suspicion and erode confidence in the government. And that is why we are saying that government should make those findings public. And I think that will help a lot in preventing future occurrence of such kinds of unfortunate abductions.
Cameroon's armies freed several employees of a Tunisian company who were kidnapped last week, but not before one other hostage was killed. The abduction happened in Cameroon's Anglophone region, where tensions have soared since separatists declared the self-proclaimed Republic of Ambazonia last year. Our Indira Eteng tells us more.
The 3 hostages taken in the Meme division of the southwest region of Cameroon were rescued by the military on Monday. On Tuesday, the Minister of Communication Issa Chiroma Bakari confirmed the release of a Tunisian engineer and 2 Cameroonian technicians. The body of a second Tunisian engineer, Khalid Tinsa, was also retrieved. Though the circumstances surrounding his death are still unclear, the Minister of Communication has said the Ambazonian Defense Forces had threatened to assassinate their captors if a ransom was not paid. The now freed hostages were part of a Tunisian construction company, Surubat, which was working on the Kumba-Isangele stretch of road prior to their abduction. It should be noted that this is not the first time hostages have been taken in the English-speaking regions of the country since the start of the Anglophone crisis. Insecurity is still a major concern in this part of the country.
Indira Etting there for us. Now, Kenya's opposition's called for a full investigation into Cambridge Analytica's role in the re-election of President Uhuru Kenyatta last year. The bosses of the UK consultancy firm were caught on camera boasting about the control that they had exerted over the Kenyan polls. Questions are being raised about Cambridge Analytica's methods, which include the use of data harvested from Facebook pages. The ruling Jubilee Party has admitted to having used SCL, an affiliate of Cambridge Analytica, but denies that that contributed to undue manipulation of the poll's outcome. Since 2015, central Mali has increasingly become a target for jihadist attacks. Locals say that they feel abandoned by the army and authorities, and some have decided to take the law into their own hands and form their own militia. Nicolas Chemin tells us more.
Before Mali's independence, Boukadari Tangara was a French soldier. Now he's the chief of the village of Koina in central Mali. Jihadist attacks have been on the rise in this region these last 3 years. Residents are angry. They say the Malian army and state representatives have abandoned the area.
There is no symbol of the state's authority here. Because of the insecurity, all the teachers have fled. The school closed 4 months ago. We want the army to intervene until this phenomenon has been eradicated.
While they wait for the Malian army, the former soldier has formed a self-defense militia. It's made up of 25 people.
The
people here are fed up with the jihadists, the terrorists. They kill people. They take our cows and our sheep, and they tell us we cannot grow crops.
The militia patrols day and night. They fear an attack by Amadou Koufa and his men. He's an ally of Iyad Aghali, the leader of the group that claimed responsibility for the attack in Ouagadougou on the other side of the border earlier this month. 8 people were killed, and 8 attackers also died.
Sudan, the world's last male northern white rhino, has died. He passed away of old age at an elderly 45 years old. In his last years, he became a symbol of efforts to save his entire subspecies from extinction. Now, all hopes rest with IVF and the 2 female relatives he's left behind.
He was a symbol of conservation, but also human brutality. When Sudan was born in the wild, he was one of 700 northern white rhinos. He died, the last male of his kind.
I'm feeling so sad about him. I know him very well since I started working with him. He's a very gentle rhino.
He died of age-related complications at the age of 45. It was a long life denied to many other of his subspecies. Once they used to roam across huge swathes of Central and North Africa, but in the 1970s and 80s, their numbers plummeted. Poached for their horn, to use in Chinese medicine and Arabian dagger handles.
People used to kill rhinos because of their horns, and many people have been believing that they use as medicine, but it doesn't cure anyone at all. We don't want them to become prehistoric like dinosaurs. And in fact, they really look so amazing.
Sudan's daughter and granddaughter are now the last females left. Conservation efforts to save the subspecies now relies on in vitro fertilization, using stored semen from other dead rhinos and eggs extracted from the 2 remaining females.
We are dealing with females that cannot naturally conceive. So you have to get eggs from them, then use those eggs with the sperm to create embryos that you will use in surrogate southern whites. So chances of success are minimal. But we believe that giving up is not an option for us.
Wrestled from the brink of extinction a century ago, Sudan's southern cousins now number 20,000, after intense captive breeding programs. For the northern white rhino, the advances of science, now their only hope.
Well, that's it for Eye on Africa for now. Thanks very much for joining us. Do so again. Take care.
People and Profit, presented by Stephen Carroll.
Business news is not about numbers, nor percentages and statistics. Business news is about people and how we live our lives. People and Profit goes beyond numbers to analyse how the global flow of money and profits shape our world. Intelligent and accessible, the show cuts across business, economics and politics.
People and Profit, on France 24 and France24.com.